So I recently did a talk on anxiety, why men don't get it. Obviously, it was very much about men not feeling perhaps they understand it or not even being interested in it, I think, if I'm honest. And there were lots of thoughts around that, but I wanted just to do a short video really just explaining some of that. And first of all, men have been trained for millions and millions of years not to show their fear, and that's a problem in that we can't just change that over a few hundred years, so we naturally aren't going to show our fear. And now the modern man saying, you know, man up, pull yourself together, don't be a baby, don't cry, all this kind of stuff really doesn't help the youngsters that end up really with a life script of I mustn't show my emotions, I mustn't cry, I mustn't say I'm frightened, and they find it quite scary to do that. So we stop doing it. We just build a nice big mask in front of us and we say, well, actually, no, I'm a man, I'm strong and nothing bothers me, and so on. And of course, underneath all of that, we've got the same fears and worries that everybody else has. But the problem that men have, more so than women, who are generally very good talking about their emotional situation. The problem that men have is that we repress that emotion, so we don't use it. We don't say, look, actually I'm, you know, really worried at the moment, and we don't talk about it. So we don't ever reduce the stress that's inside our body, which is potentially killing us, regardless of how physically fit we are outside. So we need to find a way to break this cycle. We need to start talking about the fact that we're frightened of things, and you know, perhaps I'm worried about paying the rent or the mortgage next month, or that, you know, my car's not going to start up because I just can't afford to get it resolved, or my relationship isn't going very well, or I'm not really where I want to be in my life, and you know, whatever it may be. And instead of resorting to this awful thought, which is I'm a man, I should resolve it, I can't, and therefore I'm not a man, and therefore I'm worthless, and so maybe I'm better off just ending it all, which is obviously a really distorted position to be in, to consider ending your life. We need to just talk to a mate about it. Listen, you know, if you've got a bit of time, I'm really struggling here. I'm you know, quite worried about this, that and the other, or I'm getting really angry about such and such, or I'm frustrated with this. And if we can do that, if we can actually ask a friend for help and talk with him about our worries, then maybe he'll talk to us about his worries and we can help him as well. And it's a two-way street. It works both ways. So it's so important that we find a way to break this thing of I mustn't talk about anything because I'm a man. It's not as though we're even thinking that consciously. It's actually a habit that's been developed over a long period of time, but it's reinforced with the latest life script of you know, man up, pull yourself together, you know, don't be a crybaby. I mean, how can somebody telling someone else to man up ever be helpful? Even with a modicum amount of intelligence, we know that that's not the way to help, don't we? So we need to stop doing it. We need to stop saying man up, and instead of being frightened about getting into an emotional discussion with somebody because it's not our thing, because we're men, we should start talking to people about how they are and how they're feeling. You don't have to walk around like an emotional wreck, but just start asking people really how they are. And when they tell you they're okay and they're not, just gently say, do you fancy a coffee tomorrow or this afternoon, or we're going for a walk at the weekend, or involve them in an environment where it can be a safe environment, but where you can just sit and have a chat and ask them again, perhaps, how you're getting on. So that's my short, not quite as short as I wanted, but a video on anxiety and why men don't get it, and the problem with man up. Have a good day.